Hey guys, so we are now in Bedford, Indiana. There's quite a crowd here, definitely bigger than Martinsville.
But nowhere near Bloomington, what it
No,
was.
no.
So, yep, we're here. There are speakers. We're gonna be quiet and keep it nice and peaceful. That's what the goal is. It looks like that's what everybody wants. We do have police presence here. There's also the fire station set up there, I'm sure, for like first aid and medical things like that. And then down behind us, if you look over here in this corner where my finger is.
Oh wait, back behind us? Okay.
Yeah. So this is, as we noticed whenever we were driving in, they did have a open carry. A lot of them are armed. It's probably just kind of the same thing in Martinsville. Just, their right to be able to bear arms and probably just like watch out for the statues and monuments around here. So I'll throw a little more Bedford history in here in a little while, but we're gonna go up here and try to get some of what's being said right now. So
Yeah, and then we'll do like a grand tour and, like Echo said, give you guys a little bit of information about Bedford.
So let's flip her around.
Yeah, working. There you go.
It makes a difference. What you do today will make a big, big difference. You have to remember that what you do makes a big, big difference. We're not going to always be here in Lawrence County. Some of us work in different counties. And when you go outside of this county, you want to feel safe. Right? Okay. Well, guess what? It starts today. When you hear someone say something, you are accountable to make them responsible. Yeah! All lives matter. Black lives matter. Yeah! I've been here in Bedford, Indiana since 1993. I've had some things said to me, but at the same time, I ignore it because I'm also from Chicago, Illinois, too. Okay? So don't get it twisted. I do have a little Chicago still in me, but because I have a greater respect for God, who I know can handle all things, and I know now that it's not always about me, but I'm an example. So I set an example for my children as well as my next door neighbor to ignore some of the people, because some people are here to, as Kara and Angel said, to try and get a rise out of you. Sometimes you have to turn the other cheek and go on. So even though they might try to provoke you to do certain things, you can go to someone who's got higher power and get them to do it for you. Yeah! You don't have to fight those battles sometimes. You got a whole lot of people, just like right now, I feel safe. I got a whole lot of people standing around me, so I dare somebody come around me. But anyway, let me move on. Why are we here? That's what Kara asked me. We're here because we're tired of the pain that has crippled our society. We're here, we're tired of our voices not being heard. We're tired of the injustice. We're tired of the racial disparities. We're tired of the oppression. We're tired of being separated because of the color of our skin. We're just plain old tired of being tired. We feel each other's pain. I know you feel my pain. Yeah. I know that because you're here. You wouldn't be here if you didn't feel it. Yeah. We're hurting and we're tired of hurting. We are ready to heal. On Tuesday, we had a moment over there at Harp Carmen where we all stood together and we prayed in silence and we cried. Some people were crying, some people were kneeling. and you could just feel the love. It was wonderful. It was truly wonderful. Yes, we are here to unite and to lift our voices in protest for the injustice, for the inequality that has upset us and angered us and disgusted us and disheartened us and confused us, belittled us, betrayed us, and led us astray far too long. But we are also here to unite us, to pray for one another, to pray for our city, our community, our country, and our leaders. We're also here to pray for our police officers.
Yeah.
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 We're here to pray for our families
Yeah.
and our friends. Just because of the police officers that have done the wrong thing, we have to keep in mind that not all police officers are bad. They are human too. And we have to remember that they need us just like we need them.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a hand to Jeremy Bridges, who I had an opportunity to speak to the other day. And I asked him, how does he feel about what's going on? And he had mentioned that he was scared, that he didn't feel that what had happened with George Floyd was right. And he wished it because it brings a dark light upon all police officers. Because just like people want to put all black people in the same category, some people want to put all police officers in the same category.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't do that. We don't want them to do it to us. They don't want us to do it to them.
Yeah. That's right.
I just want to call up a couple of names that Kara and Angel had mentioned. Let us not forget about Martin Luther King, Robert F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Rodney King, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. And then I don't want us to forget, or I want us to also think about Martin Gugliani, the 75-year-old white man that just got pushed down over in Buffalo, New York. Let us not forget about him. Things happen to people and we don't understand why. But there's always a reason behind something. And I want us to remember that when things happen, you are the voices for the people. You have to say something. Don't go along with something just to get along with somebody. That's been the problem for so many years. We went along to get along. This is not about politics, people.
Yeah.
This is about blood. It's about blood. It's about livelihood.
Yeah.
Forget about the politics. I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. All I see is faces. Your lives matter to me. I believe my life matters to you. I also want to mention, right now, I am bothered. I was more nervous and scared earlier today because of what I would say. And I got 5 pieces of paper here. But anyway, I guess I'm almost like my husband. You give a pastor a mic and then you made a mistake. But anyway, right now, you know what? We got a lot of people over there sitting behind prison walls that probably shouldn't even be there. Why? Because they don't have the right representation.
Yeah.
That's not right. But we need to start thinking about being a voice not only for the people that's on the outside, but the people that's on the inside as well. We've got to make a difference. Change begins now. I mentioned that I was scared, but more than just being scared sometimes for myself, I'm more scared for my husband, who is 6'4". Because when you see him, what do you see? those of you who don't know it, Sharon is my board president, so she keeps me on track. I'm scared for my son. I'm scared for my grandsons. I got 3 of them. Because if George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, a jogger, Breonna Taylor is at her own home. If those things can happen to them, could it happen to my kids? Could it happen to me when I'm laying at home and my husband is at work late at night? I have a question for you.
See that?
Close your eyes for 1 minute. What if it was your child? Could it happen to your child? How would you feel? It's not my child, it's your child. What if you were best friend, you were my best friend, and I came to you and told you my child had just been murdered? Don't understand why. How would you feel? You'd cry alongside with me. What if you were a foster parent and you had raised this child from the time that child was a day old, and now they're 18, and now they're murdered? How would you feel? A child is not necessarily your child just by birth. It's still your child. Those are your babies. Every child that is born into this world is your child. Every life matter. Black lives matter. On a personal note, Kara mentioned that I run Birth This Mission. I've been running Birth This Mission going on 8 years now. I won't lie to you. I thought God had it all twisted. He had the wrong person. I didn't understand why he wanted an African American black woman to run a community kitchen serving free meals to a predominantly white community. Since this whole thing has happened, I wondered even more so why. I've seen a lot of negative things on Facebook. Made me wonder, is it worth it? Why me? Do I just say forget it? Because how are people looking at me? I'm a black woman. They say all black people are thugs. They say the N-word. I'm supposed to be out there looting. I'm supposed to be out there rioting. All that stuff, right? So why am I over there serving 140 meals daily? Help me understand that. I don't know. They say zebras change colors? Or what? Did I change my color? I guess I don't fit in that category, right? I'm still black, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So what did they do? They racial profiled me, right? My husband is a pastor out in Tunnelton, Indiana. Interesting. Tunnelton is smaller than Bedford, Indiana. There's no black people out there. Help me understand that one. But he's supposed to be a thug. He's supposed to be rioting and looting. But guess what, people? You are our people. So we do what we do because we love you. We see you. We see the support us each and every day, and that's why we do what we do. We don't listen to them. We don't listen to them. Those people have problems. They got issues. We listen to you. We love you because you have shown us love back. You love us. We love you. There is nothing in this world that we will not do for you. And I guarantee you, you call either one of us, we're there for you. I believe that if I probably have most of y'all numbers. If we call you, you do the same for us. You'll do anything we ask you to do. That's why I'm not worried. I see those officers standing across the street. If I go, hey, hey, look, see, they waving right now. They want to be there to help us. Thank you, officers. I love diversity. Diversity is something that is a difference. It's about difference. It's about variety. Variety is what makes the world go round. To me, I think of diversity as like an Oreo cookie. They're good. I like that. I also like butter pecan ice cream. So if anybody want to buy me some, I'll take that. But anyway, I think diversity is great because if we all thought alike, especially like those people who think that black lives don't matter, where would we be? But because we are so diverse in the way we think, levels of education, professional, work ethics, religious beliefs, and ideas, our creativity, that's what makes us diverse. That's why we are the greatest country in the world.
Damn right.
We are unified as one, and that's obvious because we're here today. Okay, so now, what do we do? Now we want to know what we're going to do about it, right? Okay, let me tell you what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to pray. We started that out. Well, I hope that all of us do pray. And if you don't pray, start praying. That's the preacher's wife thing. Okay, so we're going to pray. We're going to stand together as we are today. We don't go along just to get along. Stop it. If you're doing it, stop it. Because guess what? They can turn on you just like they turn on the other people. Stop going along to get along. That ain't going to get you nowhere. It might get you a yes ma'am or no ma'am or yes sir, no sir today. But that don't mean it's going to guarantee you a friend tomorrow. It don't guarantee that they're going to respect you any more than they did in the first place. Probably not. They probably don't respect you anyway if all they want you to do is agree with them anyway. We got to speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. And that's what you're doing today. You're speaking up for those voices that can't speak for themselves. I see a sign over there that says, white silence is violence. I like that. Earlier today, I seen a young lady, she told the sign up for me, and it was one of the quotes that I was going to say later, but it says, the time is always right to do what is right, by Martin Luther King. Also, we vote for those who represent all the people, not just some of the people. It's time to review policies and procedures. And I see my kids have made, praise God. You don't just get involved temporarily, you get involved and stay involved. You always want to try and treat people the way you want to be treated. My mother taught me that a long time ago, that if I want to be loved, I got to give love. You got to always treat people with love and kindness. Don't think you can be nice and nasty at the same time. The two don't go together. You can't sit there and say, oh, you like smiling in my face today, and then tomorrow you stab me in my back. That don't work. You can't do it. You got to lead by example. Make a difference. Make a difference. You're making a difference right now. All these cameras around here, just like George Floyd's killing was caught on tape. People see you right now, and you're making a difference. Don't just be different, make a difference. You are accountable for yourself and for those you associate with. Don't allow someone's wrong to take you down. If you see somebody doing something wrong, don't just walk on by like the couple officers up there in New York, Buffalo, New York, or the one that killed George Floyd. That's not right. I don't care who it is. If they're wrong, they are wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. You're accountable. I think they call it accountable by association. Take them down. Let them go by themselves. I don't look good in orange. Right? I like to eat well too. I encourage you to break traditions. Traditional curses. Set new morals and values for yourself and for your families. Be a barrier breaker, a trend maker. I'm almost done. I mentioned earlier, I want you guys, as well as myself, I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I won't do for myself. And Sharon will tell you, I'm probably not an easy person to work with because I do, oh, my daughter's shaking her head. Oh, there's my son-in-law saying no. Anyway, I don't ask people to do nothing that I won't do. That is something I really stand strongly by. I will not ask you to do something I won't do. So I ask people, always treat people the same way you want to be treated. If you don't want to be called a name, don't call somebody by a name. Don't classify and call somebody out of their name. If you're going to call me something, call me Miss Janice Nicole Pendergrass. Don't call me nothing else. Or if you want to, I'll even tell you what my email name is. It's Miss Education. Yeah. Stop labeling people before you get to know them because of the color of their skin or their ethnicity. Unless you live in a bubble, remember, people judge you before you even speak. So let your work speak for yourself. Let it speak for itself. My husband often uses the phrase, don't let the smooth taste fool you. I say, don't let the color fool you. Wake up, people. Stop, look, and listen. We are one, no matter what shade of skin. We are bleed red. We are united by God, by the blood of Jesus Christ. And if I can be honest, it has even crossed my mind how it might be perceived that a black girl trying to start a feeding ministry. Well, coronavirus didn't stop me. I'm not going to let this injustice thing stop me. My life does matter. Serving those meals to the less fortunate does matter. I'm here today. I want enough to do if you don't mind. Please help me with it. And I'm done. I see those officers standing over there in the shade tree. Thank you guys again for your service. I don't know if we have any veterans here or not, but I want to thank you all I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out, supporting Black Lives Matter. Give yourselves a hand. Your lives matter. We had a piece of paper. We're going to pass around some cards real quick. If you could just help me do one thing, it'd mean the world to me. We're going to sing a little song. It's by Michael Jackson. Everybody know Michael Jackson? Lean on me. No? Sister Slade. Anyway, my husband is a singer, y'all.
Y'all know it's not by Michael Jackson. I've seen people come around and try to drown out the message. I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to read some signs, and I want you to repeat after me. Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Enough is enough!
Enough is enough!
Enough is enough!
Enough is enough!
In racism!
In racism!
In racism!
In racism!
No justice!
No justice!
No peace!
No peace!
No justice!
No justice!
No peace!
No peace!
Black Lives Matters.
Black Lives Matter!
Amen. Just let me read some of these signs and then we'll sing the song. This is not a moment, it is a movement. Make some noise! It's time to use our outside voices. Make some noise! All mothers were summoned. I hope I got that right. When George Floyd called out for his mom. Say this with me. Repeat after me. I can't breathe.
I can't breathe!
I can't breathe.
I can't
I
breathe!
can't breathe.
I can't
Stop racism. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain. We all have sorrows. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me. Come on, y'all know it. When you're not strong, come on. And I'll be your friend. Y'all sing louder. I'll help you carry on. For it won't take long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Make some noise, Lord! Make some noise, Lawrence County!
All right, so right now we want to honor the works of Maya Angelou.
Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes. Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soyful cries. Does my hauntiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard. 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines, digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes. You may kill prize. That I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of a slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
All right, so we would like to welcome our second guest today. Vox Booker is a social equity and racial justice activist. He currently chairs the Affordable Housing Commission and is a Human Rights Commissioner for Monroe County. Please welcome Vox.
I think you guys all heard, my name is Fox. I'm excited to see everyone. I'm not going to be quite as powerful as these amazing speakers we just had. You touched me from my heart. Your song, your fellowship, your message was on point. I appreciate it. And folks, make sure that when you see, especially social organizations that are ran by Black people, those are the things to give your money to. Rub your coins together. Maybe you have 50 cents, throw it away, because it's going to add up and make a difference. That's how we make change. Someone had a sign out here that said, all mothers will summon. Can I hold that back up? It says, all mothers will summon when George Floyd called out for his mama. So folks, what I'm gonna talk about in my short time is how we got here. Not only how we got here, but where we go from here. So many signs that say, I can't breathe. And it really just, there's a song that says, there's a man in the hanging tree, and he looks just like me. And I think that while we're out here, we need to talk about the history of systemic racism, especially in places like Indiana. Indiana's a northern state, but some of y'all might be aware that we aren't too far from Kentucky. So the first thing that I'm going to do is read an account of a lynching that just happened about 20 miles from here. The vigilantes, previously known as Colorham Hammond, attacked and captured and hanged the store robber. Late in April and early in May 1867, a Negro and two whites robbed a county store. 200 lynchers on the hunt for the thieves located the Negro, and when they arrived at the hills of West White Creek, they set on the Negro on horse, they tied a rope around his neck, and they tied the other end over the limb of a tree. The crowd went on, and after a while, the horses followed, and this Negro was left dangling in the air as he soon suffocated. Another account states that the lynchers, bending down a small tree, hanged him and left him to die. And it adds that some of the lynchers had obviously been drunk from a place in Rockford before the scene of the lynching. So Isaac A. Williams gives an account that's probably the best of that horrible death of one Robert O'Neill, a poor black man of good character, who was almost dragged to death and then hung by the Salt Creek mob, which operated on the Salt Creek 18 to 20 miles west of Seymour. The Salt Creek country was wild and rough, and the people made the most of their money at the time selling hoop poles and tanberry. Robert O'Neill, though he was black, was considered a peaceable man and a good citizen, and was never known to be in trouble before. He was formerly a slave in Kentucky and was well known by the Bly family, who were all wealthy and influential people. A store on Salt Creek was robbed, by Ruth and John Stewart, and in order to get away with the merchandise taken, hired O'Neill to haul it in two horse wagons to the direction of Seymour. Later, the goods were found at the near residence of Clara Stewart, mother of the two robbers. Ruth Stewart was found near when the goods were concealed and arrested. John could not be found at the time, but was arrested later on. After the arresting, Ruth and the mob, 50 strong, went to Paul Abel to arrest O'Neill. They found him in the field plowing, 18 miles northwest of Seymour in Jackson County. They put a rope around his neck, and then they went on a horse to arrest Abel. Abel saw them coming and opened both doors and took a position in the middle of the floor with a double-barreled shotgun and told them he would shoot the first man that entered the door. The mob soon decided that it didn't want Paul very badly and left with O'Neill. The rope around O'Neill's neck was tied to a horse, and he was led this way for several miles. Finally, he got tired and could no longer walk any further. Then he was dragged by the rope for a considerable distance until he was nearly dead. After this horrible treatment, in broad daylight, he was hanged on a dogwood tree by the roadside, and a tag was pinned to his body with the following warning: "Let this corpse here remain. If any man takes him down, will serve you just the same." For several days he remained hanging, until one night someone cut him down and buried him near the roadside. But his body was soon rooted up and devoured by hogs. He goes on to state that the mob was 200 strong, that the lynchers were evidently not disguised or masked in any way, and they went on to lynch 2 other folks in the following years. So this account that, is a stone throw away, was someone who was hanged in broad daylight that never received justice. Today we have a hill that we still know just by a racial slur in this hanging. And those things resonate today. So when you understand the history of modern policing, you have to understand that it came from lynching patrols. These were groups of white men that would go out and hassle black folks. If they were fleeing, they had to be able to show paperwork. If they didn't have the paperwork, and sometimes even if they did, they would still catch them and sell them into slavery. And these were free men. And slaves were often beaten and made an example of. So from the lynching patrol was how we began modern policing in America after the Civil War. So when you see these pictures of Dr. King and everyone talks about how peaceful and great he was, you have to understand that these were the police officers that were arresting him. They were putting him in jail. They were his oppressors. And that history still resonates today. Every time someone says, "I can't breathe," every time that there was a policy like stop and frisk in New York, it is from that same history of policing black bodies. So we really want to make some change. There's some systemic things we need to do. We need to make sure that we're involved in the political system. Folks, they are registering folks to vote. I want you to make sure, if you haven't registered, that before you leave today that you register to vote at this tent. I also want us to think about ourselves and how we play a role in the system. It's easy to call out other folks. It's much harder to examine your own role in the problem. Dr. King talked about white moderates who are people who may believe in your cause, but they won't stand on the side of justice. He said, "First, I must confess over the last few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have reached the almost regrettable conclusion that the Negro's greatest stumbling block in the stride toward freedom is not the white citizen, the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, 'I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I can't agree with you in your methods of direct action,' who paternalistically feels he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by the myth of time, and who constantly advises the Negro, wait for a more convenient season. Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding of people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection." So Dr. King talked about the inescapable network of mutuality, that we're all linked, we're all connected in a common garment of destiny, that if someone pulls on Jared's string, that is going to yank me as well. So we have to understand that we all play a part in this system. We talk about, in activism, we talk about systems of influence, spheres of influence. You all have friends that you know, you all have family members that you know, that you can listen to, that you can talk directly. You need to make sure that you're taking the personal view of standing up and not only being just not racist, that you're actively being anti-racist. That you're confronting these grandparents and you're confronting these aunts and uncles and friends. And that you're taking the time to educate yourself so you can be better, allies, working better solidarity. I also want to realize that when we say Black Lives Matter, that has to mean all Black Lives Matter. And whether they're light-skinned blacks, whether they're gay or trans blacks, that all black people have. And, you know, that sign resonated with me because I lost my mother as a young boy, and the world can be very tough on a dark-skinned boy in Indiana. So there were some times that people weren't kind to me, but it made me better for who I am. It gave me the strength to stand up in front of you guys today and just be calm and cool. I want you guys to think about those people who don't have the strength that you do and be strong for them. I want you who, I see so many young folks out here, if you're still in school, make sure that when you hear your friends say unkind things, whether it's a black person or anyone, make sure that you're there to be an ally, that you're there to work in solidarity, that we can all do better. I want you guys to speak to your local officials. They have tremendous power. Sheriffs have incredible power. So do prosecutors. Prosecutors are some of the most powerful people in the justice system. Sometimes before anyone ever even sees a judge, a prosecutor can decide their fate through plea bargains and other things. So when you go to these political events and you talk to these elected officials, ask them about what are those stances on racial justice. Some of them will be so uncomfortable, you'll be shocked. They're used to talking about everyone. And it sounds good to say that we love and we recognize and we value everyone. But sometimes we have to say, well, this person is part of the whole and they're suffering. So let's make sure that we're paying attention to those suffering. I'm not going to take forever. I appreciate you guys all. And if you would, if we do a couple of chants of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter! 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 Yeah!
Alright, so now we want to welcome up Sabrina Brown, and I believe her brother is also going to read poetry as well.
Amen.
Wow, it's super comforting. I see a lot of people that for you that don't know who I am, I'm Sabrina Brown. I was born and raised here in Bedford, Indiana. Small town. That's what I always say when people ask, where are you from? I say, I'm from this really small town in southern Indiana. But I moved after high school to Phoenix, Arizona, and it literally opened my mind to what I feel like drastically. I can't even, when I come back, it's like I come back in this super small hole. And I have to remind myself, there's so much more out there than this. There's so much more out there than the color of my skin and the color of your skin. As a mother, I have 2 black children, a boy and a girl. And when I come back to this town, it almost brings fear in me that it's not okay. The things that we are taught, I feel like a lot of it is generational. This town, we don't see much outside of ourselves. And I don't know. And
maybe a lot of you think I'm just jambling and going, but all I'm here really to say is that Black lives do matter. As a woman and as a person that has white skin, I'll still say it. I'll stand and say it. Black lives matter. And I'm not the best writer, not the best poet, but I think my brother wrote something that you take it as you will, and I think it'll touch most of you.
So I'm going to be quick because I'm not the best public speaker. It's actually one of my biggest fears. And I thought today I'd put my fear aside. For all of you, black lives, today I'm going to read a poem. It's called Just a Dream. I look at my nephew and my niece. I see a gleam from their souls and their eyes full of dreams. Instilled with serenity and need for peace. And I think to myself, how could people of the same color bleed? How could they kneel on one's neck until he can no longer breathe? And the others watch and stand by as he pleads for release. I guess it's just normal protocol. You could call it unlawful law. But I do recall a dream I saw. It was a peace but short and sweet. Because dreams are meaningful. Or at least that's what they told me. Perhaps I'm at my own deceit by not holding on to dreams for my belief. So now I stand and read as I plan to plant a seed into the minds of the ones who hear and see the words I sing. Together we can reach destiny through once broken dreams. Just take my hand and let freedom ring. Only together can we free our dreams from the shackles of the ones who leave. Together we can all be Martin Kings. Together we can make a change.
To welcome our next speaker, Pastor Robert Lee Pendergrass. Pastor Pendergrass has been ministering the gospel of Christ for almost 35 years. He received Christ at the age of 10. He was licensed and ordained to preach the gospel at the age of 22 by the Honorable John Floyd Cunningham of the Mount Enon Missionary Baptist Church of Dayton, Ohio. He is a graduate of Jordan Bible College of Cedar Springs, Michigan, and is currently pursuing a Master's of Divinity at Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana. Pastor Pendergrass has been blessed to shepherd 3 different churches throughout his ministerial journey. Let's go ahead and give a round of applause for that. He is the founder and current pastor of Lighthouse Baptist Church of Bedford and Tunnelton, Indiana. Pastor Pendergrass believes that the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few, and in saying so, his journey included serving as an associate minister, youth director, minister of music, and chaplain. He, under God's direction, started a church while serving in Korea. Pastor Pendergrass is a noted songwriter, recording artist, pastor, preacher, and teacher. And we all already know how good he can sing. He humbly requests that he who has an ear would hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying this day to his beloved people whom he loves. They are, Pastor Pendergrass and his lovely wife, as we have mentioned, are the proud owners of Bertha's Mission, a community kitchen providing free meals to the public. And according to his wife, he is one of God's chasers, running a race as if to win, running by faith and not by sight. Let's welcome Pastor Pendergrass.
Let the people of God say amen. Amen. Let the people of God say amen. Amen. I know, I remember the brother was over across the street and he was talking about Jesus and somebody said, we're not here for that. And we're not here for that. But look at somebody and say, we are all God's people. We are all one. Can you say amen? Right now, even if you're having a problem with that, fake it till you make it. Can you say amen? Make some noise, Lawrence County. Can you say amen? We're going to tie this up, amen. They asked us to talk about several things today, and we want to make sure that we do that. But I've noticed, as I said before, as I stood here, how different factions are coming around, and they're trying to make noise and drown out this sound. But I want you to know your being here and your voice is what they're afraid of. That's the first step toward change. And I want you to know you're empowered right now to take your voice and make a difference. Look at the person next to you and say, my voice matters. Come on, say my voice matters. Say I'm gonna use my voice. Come on, say I'm using my voice. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Say I'm using my voice. I'm using my voice. And I want to say something with my voice. I want to say Black Lives. Y'all ain't with me. I want to say Black Lives. Matter. Make some noise up in here. Make some noise and shake the foundation of Lawrence County. Amen. Y'all know I'm used to being in church with one of them cordless mics. Amen. This one got me tied down. I want to tell you something up in here. Kara and Angel, amen. These women stood out in this town, and she summed it up well, amen. Before I go on with that, let's give this man of God right here a hand. Shake him. He still wanted to use his voice, amen. Nervous, he still wanted to use his voice. Trembling, he still wanted to use his voice. Some of y'all out there know how he feels. Can you say amen? Come on, make some noise in here. Say, I'm using my voice. I'm using my voice. Amen. All the things that brought us here, what they're most fearful of is that somebody will say something. Somebody will say something. For years and years and years, black people kept saying, hey, 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 violence is going on. The police are doing this. They're doing that. They said, you ain't saying nothing. Then a video came out. You could see it. They still say, don't say nothing. But in Lawrence County today, as we get ready to leave this place, I've got one plea. When I say something, can you say something? Say something. I said say something. Say something. Say something. Say something. Would you all say something? Say something. Please say something. Say something. Tell the person behind you, say something. Say something. Say something. Say something. For too long, my wife talked about what are we going to do after we leave here. Amen. What we're going to do is starts with, first of all, somebody acknowledging and saying something. Somebody said, when you see wrong, don't go along to get along. Say something. I said, say something. Say something. The proprietors over this event, they wanted me to talk about the lost sheep, amen. And I know many of you don't understand the Bible and don't know that story, but it was about how Jesus had a whole flock of sheep and he left the 99 for the one. And my wife said, what is the significance of that story? Well, the significance is that to Jesus, amen, or to God, or the higher power, or whatever you want to call it, it mattered that the one was just as important as the whole. The one was just as important as the whole. Y'all got to talk to me because I'll get a preacher spirit, then you'll all be in trouble. I said the one was just as important as the one. Amen. And he was talking about sheep. Now, I know I got some folks out here that know something about sheep. Do you know that sheep come in many colors? They come in black, white, spot. Y'all better act like y'all know what I'm talking about. Natural sheep aren't even white. Can you get a witness up in here? So color didn't matter. The high power left it all for the one. It might have been a black sheep. Maybe they said, don't go get that black sheep. I wasn't there, but I'm sure that shepherd said, you know, Black Lives Matter too. I said, say something. Say something. I said, say something. They wanted to do, what was the other one that y'all wanted me to talk about? Bless the Lord. It was the sheep, and then you wanted me to talk about the Good Samaritan. And I know some of y'all haven't read your Bible in a long time, but there was a Good Samaritan. And Jesus talked about the Good Samaritan when they asked him a question. The man said, who is my neighbor? Say something. Say something. See, he was trying to impress Jesus, so he said, well, who is my neighbor? I am. Say something. Say something. And Jesus said, I want to tell you the story of the Good Samaritan. See, the Samaritans were not liked by anybody. Say something. Say something. And the Samaritans were in the Jewish community, but they were of a darker complexion. Say something. Say something. And everybody thought that a Samaritan was not to be dealt with. Say something. Say something. So on the road to Damascus, the Samaritan was coming along, but in front of him was a rabbi, amen? In front of him was a church man like me. In front of him was all of these good men. I ain't got time to go through it. And they saw another man that had been beaten up, and they walked on by. Say something. Say something. But that Good Samaritan, the darker skinned one, he stopped, and he said, hey, brother, do you need some help? Lean on me. And he took him back, and he took him to the doctor, and he paid his bill, and he told the man, whatever he needs, I will repay when I come back through. Just take care of it. Say something. Say something. Wouldn't it be nice if we had some Samaritans that just wouldn't listen to stuff, amen, but would say something? Say something. Wouldn't it be nice, amen, that they would see that these darker people are not as bad as you say they are, and they would say something? Can I get y'all to say Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! They wanted me to touch on those two things, and I believe that we've done that. But I want to also tell you, there was an old saying that my mother used to always tell me, and when I was younger, I never understood. She would always say, that goes without saying. That goes without saying. And what she was really trying to say is that some things are so obvious that you ain't got to say nothing about it. It goes without saying. Amen. Y'all are standing here today. That goes without saying. You all believe that Black Lives Matter. That goes without saying. But the time comes when even though it goes without saying, you still got to say something. Say something. I know that it's obvious that when that policeman put his foot on his neck, amen, that was a tragedy, but you still gotta say something. Y'all come on and go with me up in here. Hallelujah. Martin Luther King, it goes without saying, he had a dream. Can I get a witness up in here? Somebody say something. And the reason he had a dream, because dreams are not reality. Somebody say something. She said, I have a dream that I will, my children will no longer be judged by the color of their skin, but by their character. Somebody say something. And he had that dream, and we talk about that dream, but that's all it's going to be, is a dream until somebody say something. Look at your neighbor and say, somebody got to say something. Will it be you? Will it be you? We got a constitution that says that all men are created equal. I believe it says we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. But how many know when there's only justice for some, hallelujah, there'll never be justice for none? Come on, amen. Until there's justice for all. Somebody better say something. Amen. You're going to leave this place. This march is going to be open, but will your mouth be solid, or will you say something? Turn around and tell somebody, say something. Say something. Be like this brother, even though you shake it. Say something, amen. How many seen that video and know it wasn't right? Say something. How many been living in this town and seen stuff that you know wasn't right? Can I get you to say something? my brother-in-law, Tracy Gist. He's locked up. I know what all that you want to hear, but he's been locked up for almost 6 months. Ain't even got a trial. Won't even give him a date. Regardless of what you've done, you still need justice. Can somebody say something? Say something. And all men are proven innocent, huh? Until proven guilty, amen? You can't just lock somebody up. Bullshit. Somebody say something. I'm not asking you to condone whatever it was that he went down for, but even if you go down, don't you want justice to be fair? Somebody say something. Say something. I got to go. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your energy. I thank you for coming out here. Give yourselves a hand. But one thing I noticed when I was a little boy, there's a statue of Lady Justice, and she's got a blindfold on. But how many know that justice ain't blind? It finds who it wants to find. Can I get a witness? It flows for some, but not for all. Can I get a witness? Until there's justice for all, it doesn't matter if there's justice for some. And the only thing that's going to change it is, forgot all that motorcycle, I need somebody to say something. I'm about to leave, but I need you to say something. Shout up to the heavens and say something. Say something. Say something. Maybe y'all need something to say. Can you say Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter. The time is always right to do what is right. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. America, we cannot be blind to racism. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Say, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Anybody gonna say something? Say something. Say something. We're gonna close this out with prayer. We had a unity prayer right over there, and I spoke at that, and I told them, I don't care how bright you are, I don't care how much intelligence you got, until we call on a higher power. Because if all of us could fix it, we'd fix it. Say amen. Amen. Amen means it is so. We fix it. But how many know it's out of our hands? We can't. So we need some help. Tell your neighbor, we need some help. Whatever your faith, whatever your God, even if you got no faith at all, I need you to say we still need some help. I'm going to take a knee. I need somebody to time me that I'm going to pray for 8 minutes. And was it 48 or 58 seconds? Okay, somebody get your timer out. I'm going to get on a knee and I'm going to pray. And I want you to pray, and I want you to realize just how long it was that injustice was on that man's neck. And if he can get on his neck, turn around and tell somebody he can get on yours. Y'all said that like, oh, it couldn't happen to me, so you can get on yours. I didn't tell y'all the horror stories of being a pastor out in Tunnelton.
All right, guys. We're not going to film prayer, so we're going to go ahead and get off here, and then we'll see what happens. We'll probably have a part 2 coming up shortly. So hang tight. We'll see you later. Thanks.